rumor that I'm going to be talking about today, I'm convinced now more than ever, if in fact it does end up being true, that Marvel Studios will not stop until every single character they own is ruined. Let's discuss. Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I don't know about anybody else, but for me personally, anytime I watched a Captain America movie as an adult, or read a Captain America comic as a child, I never once thought about politics or viewed him as a one-sided political character in any way. You see, we currently live in this politics-obsessed society, a race-obsessed society, a gender-obsessed society. So much so that now every single fictional character that has ever existed has to stand for or represent some kind of modern ideology. Otherwise, some people will get in their feelings about that character.
Stop being a bitch and come on!
Why? Because for the most part, consumers are weak-minded drones, who for some reason constantly need to be represented. They also need their opinions validated by fictional superheroes for reasons. Captain America, to me, was never on one side or the other as it pertains to the political spectrum. He represented America as a whole. As this user on Twitter states, he's patriotic center. He listens to everyone, regardless of their wing, because he's the embodiment of America, its constitution, and its rights.
Goddamn right, that's the only way I work, Cap.
Now, I stay away from politics as much as humanly fucking possible for a couple of reasons. One, because I am a very apolitical person and I simply do not give a shit. And two, because political discussions are very divisive and ultimately serve no purpose. But that description of Captain America that I just read, if we take into account the current landscape that we live in, wouldn't it seem like we need a character like that right now?
That makes sense.
Someone who represents the center, who listens, and doesn't vilify people for having a different opinion. But no, that's not good enough for some people because a lot of people thrive off divisiveness. And it appears that the powers that be at Marvel Studios want to change their perception of this character. And I say their perception because nobody with a half a brain actually thinks about him in the way that they do.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
So the rumor is that Marvel is looking to bring back Chris Evans as Captain America, in an effort to distance the character from his uncomfortable Patriotism Facets. These are probably the same people who called Top Gun Maverick one of the best movies of the year a conservative fantasy, when in fact that movie had absolutely nothing to do with politics whatsoever. The rumored idea is that some kind of story is being planned that would include both Anthony Mackie and Chris Evans sharing the mantle of Captain America.
No, don't like that.
Apparently, some at Marvel believe that Captain America as a character is being used by conservatives as a pro-nationalist superhero icon. I have a question. Who are these people that are supposedly stealing this character and weaponizing him? Because I never encountered one of them in my life. Honestly, what they're talking about is what happens in Hollywood every single fucking day of the week. How many times have we seen someone in Hollywood change an established character to fit their narrative and their ideologies?
My, how the tables have turned.
The rumor goes on to say, quote, the leaders at Marvel reportedly dislike that they did not address the issue before Chris Evans retired from the character. They felt that having an African-American version of the character bear such a burden alone was unfair. These people really do live in their own world, don't they? Two things. If you don't want your African-American version of this character to have to deal with this fictional problem that you made up in your head, how about we just don't make Sam Wilson Captain America to begin with?
That's racist.
Or better yet, just stop creating problems where there aren't any. And maybe do your fucking job and get back to entertaining us. The rumor that MCU leaders may be taking issue with this not being addressed while Chris Evans was in the role pretty much tells me everything I need to know about this situation. Clearly, this hasn't always been an issue because I haven't heard about it up until this point, thus making your concern about it now seem that much more manufactured.
I understood that reference.
So the plan is to bring back Chris Evans to fix Captain America, or more specifically, ruin Captain America. And this is what they do. They character assassinate established characters that we all love to help build their new shitty characters that nobody gives a shit about. See Hulk if you don't believe me. See Thor if you don't believe me. And Cap will most likely be joining them, followed closely by Tony Stark, and we all know what's going to happen. You thought these characters were safe just because they were written out of the MCU? Think again, nerd! I find it quite troublesome that there are people anywhere, let alone working at Marvel Studios, that take issue with this character being patriotic, that take issue with an optimistic character who fights for what's right, whose very weapon isn't in fact a weapon but a shield, meant to be symbolic of how he protects and honors this country and the people who are in it. Why is this a problem for people exactly?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
It's one thing to have Captain America address problems that the country as a whole may be facing at that time, but we all know that's not what these people want. They want to address these issues from their own narrow-minded perspective, which again goes against everything that the character represents. Meanwhile, the rest of us normal people are just here wanting Cap to punch Red Skull in the fucking face. Steve Rogers' arc and the conclusion of his story in Endgame is one of the best things that the MCU has ever done, and I stand by that.
That's a bingo.
But in typical MCU fashion, whether it's making jokes about his virginity, or trying to now remove the patriotic aspect to his character, it appears that they will always find a way to fuck everything up. And just so everyone knows, there's also a rumor that Chris Evans himself is, quote, keen to work on such a project as he loathes the portrayal of Captain America as an America First superhero. Well, considering it's right in his fucking name, I thought that would be pretty obvious.
Fuck you!
If in fact this is true, then maybe Chris Evans wasn't the right person to play Captain America after all. As much as I loved his portrayal and I thought he was perfect for the role, if you don't appreciate the mantle, if you don't appreciate what the character stands for, and don't appreciate the privilege of playing him, go back to being in fucking rom-coms if you can't get out of your feelings long enough to give us the hero that we deserve. Bottom line is, the MCU is truly dead when we can't trust that these iconic characters that we all love are no longer going to be portrayed properly.
Y'all be cool. Nah.